After a little bit of flirting on Twitter yesterday between Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, we finally got the long-awaited first trailer for The Dark Tower. Thank you, Sai. I'm Joe Starr, and this is Screen Junkies News. Today's episode of Screen Junkies News is brought to you by M&M's. Picking up where Stephen King's epic 8-book series ended, and by 8-book I mean 9-book series if you count The Little Sisters of Eloria, and a lot of fans do. The Dark Tower movie sees 11-year-old Jake Chambers and Roland the Gunslinger teaming up to make the journey across the dimension of Midworld in hopes of reaching the Dark Tower. But hot on their heels is Walter Paddock, aka the Man in Black, aka the Dark Man, aka the Walking Dude, aka an evil sorcerer who hopes to reach the tower himself. With me to talk about this new trailer are our own Charlie Feldman and Jay Washington. Good morning.
Morning. I wore my Isaac from Children of the Corn hat just for the occasion.
Perfect. No, perfect.
I just wore this shirt because it blended in with these M&Ms.
Perfect. All right.
Sponsor.
So before we sort of start our own journey to the Dark Tower, reminder, guys, Guardians of the Galaxy opening this weekend. Enjoy an M&M this week. So let's talk Dark Tower trailer a little bit. And we're playing a game this week where if you say something that satisfies my need for creative conversation, I give you an M&M. So just so that like our viewers can see where we're coming from this video, you guys have not read these books.
No.
I have, so we're gonna mostly talk purely based on reactions, just based on this trailer, and I'm going to try to keep my "but in the book" sort of to a minimum.
Thanks,
Sound good to you guys?
Well, I think that's good because you're going to have a lot of fans who have read the book.
Yes.
They'll be like, but the book didn't do. But that's just like with comic book fans and the comic book movies.
That's the fun of it.
That's a game we like to play.
Yeah.
You know.
Why was I Italian just now? And of course, we're not going to do a live trailer reaction, but if you guys want to watch the trailer without our incessant gabbing over the top of it, you can click on the link below. It's below here, below the desk. It's down there. So let's roll this first clip, our first sort of clip of Roland the Gunslinger. We have this great little setup here. For thousands of generations, the gunslingers were knights, sworn to protect us from the coming of the dark, which, before we started rolling, you guys were like, that sounds familiar.
Very familiar. I'll say the exact quote, and then I'll tell you where it's from. For thousands of generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic, before the dark times, before the Empire.
Star Trek.
Secret of the Ooze.
No. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars.
I'm not familiar, but have an M&M.
Oh, you're not. Well, it's this great little, it's this little bitty indie film that spanned, 3 originals and 3 prequels and brought in a new one, and a new one's coming out this year. Just this little bitty film. And to basically have the exact same line, just change Jedi to gunslingers, it's like, who are you really fooling here?
Yeah.
For us obnoxious noobs, is this like gunslinger Star Wars? Lightsabers, you've got guns.
No, so the books have a little more of like almost an action horror vibe to them.
Oh, cool.
Most of the books sort of have almost more of an action
Jabba the
horror.
Hutt is a horror thing to look at in itself.
I mean, he is like that. It's fair. But yeah, it definitely does have sort of a Jedi Knight, almost like Knights of Camelot. Kind of vibe. To be fair, George Lucas didn't invent.
No, I mean, it sounds like he's playing on epic fantasy and those sorts of tropes, which we all love.
I mean, it works. I mean, as long as the entire movie isn't based like that. Like you said, if you're playing on it, it's fine.
Yeah, we got to see that Stephen King weirdness. That's why people like this story. We also met Jake Chambers, who is one of our protagonists. Now, this book takes place after the book series, which is a challenging conversation to have with non-book readers for what that means.
Glad to be here.
But what it sort of means, without giving too much away from the books, is that even people who are really well-versed in these books, I'm like 40-50% well-versed, and then there are people who like, these books are their religion. We have no idea where this movie's going to go. It's going to be a completely different story riffing on aspects of the movie. So we're all kind of on the same page. We're all in Game of Thrones has passed George R. R. Martin. Yeah, not a bad thing at all. I don't think so.
So with Jake, he's like kind of a Danny from The Shining character.
Yeah, they both
he's kind of got some sort of power.
They both do some premonition things.
They eat bread with milk just like that. That's disgusting.
Yeah, well, that's Stephen King classic, bread with milk. Wouldn't it be awesome if that was one of his tropes, have an M&M? And also in our scene introducing him, we saw the Overlook Hotel on the therapist's desk. So there's going to be a lot of really
shiny.
Yep.
I would check on his family.
You need to maybe go check on the family. Jake doesn't necessarily talk with his finger, but I would not be mad if he did. So we see Jake traveling through a gate to Midworld. He ends up in the desert. Let's roll that clip. And that's where the book The Gunslinger starts. And this desert landscape, also a little familiar.
There's supposed to be a clip rolling.
There is, but let's just imagine it.
Okay.
Let's set the scene with our brain since the clip's not rolling.
I've always loved the Gunslinger's cover because anytime I've ever been snowed in, like on a skiing vacation, I've always been like, oh, this looks like a great book, and then I don't read it, but I will. I will now that it's coming out.
Someday. Gunslinger, the #1 book at the Airbnb that you're staying at right now.
Looks great.
But yeah, so we see a desert with two suns, which again, Jade, take us to this indie film you've been talking about.
There's this indie film, right, that has this world that's pretty much everything's predicated around. It's called Tatooine, and it also has two suns. Again, it's another Star Wars type thing. Again, it's this whole movie.
Who did it first, technically? Or is it
Jesus? I think.
I don't think Jesus.
Jesus had the first.
The galaxy did it first.
Maybe Jesus and Moses had some epic desert stories. There might have been more
Moses
sons.
put two sons on the ark.
Yeah, in the AD time.
The sons would mate.
And then we get a little more from Roland about the gunslingers being dead, which we're not trying to beat a dead horse, but also feels
this indie film,
a little Star Warsy. Yeah.
I mean, again, I get that the books, from what you're saying and what people are going to say on the internet, are completely different entities themselves. But when you have these references that seem to go side by side and parallel themselves with Star Wars, you can't help but to point them out.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I see what you did there.
We live not in a Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
We live in a world where there is Star Wars, so things exists. Are going to relate to it. It was off of the Joseph Campbell stories, so like this is epic storytelling. This is fairy tale storytelling. This is fantasy storytelling.
Exactly.
It's going to be similar, but it's also going to have its own flavor. I am positive of that.
And speaking of our Joseph Campbell storytelling, we also met our nemesis, Walter, played by Matthew McConaughey. Walter is his dumbest name. So this is if you're a fan of The Stand, Walter is also Randall Flagg from The Stand. He is Stephen King's they say in the trailer he's worse than the devil. He's basically Stephen King's like the devil. I think when Stephen King's like, who's the bad guy of this book gonna be? He just kind of goes, it'll be Randall.
He's busy.
The director, Nick Arcel, has described him as like a timeless sort of sorcerer, a deceiver. This is a little outside of McConaughey's wheelhouse, or it might not be. Feel free to correct me. Do you think he can kind of nail evil?
No.
What do you think? No?
Okay.
Look, I don't accept Matthew McConaughey being evil with the exact same voice, the sultry voice he sells Lincolns with. No, I don't trust that. You can't be that.
That's fair.
If he
Two
could
red
sell
M&Ms.
Lincoln and whiskey, couldn't he sell you on The Man in Black?
No, can't be.
All right.
Hey, all right. My Lincoln makes me feel good, but I'm gonna kill everybody.
I think underestimating McConaughey is always a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think he usually rises to the occasion in the McConaissance post.
Have we ever seen him be this? I mean, we've seen him have dramatic roles.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen True Detective. He's pretty creepy.
He's pretty creepy in True Detective, but he's got to go full on evil.
Well, to me, that's somewhere between True Detective and his character in Magic Mike, which could make for a very
no. Let me.
You're mine.
I'm excited to see. Am I the only one? I'm really excited to see how he's going to take the character.
I'm gonna be honest. And this is gonna sound real weird when I tell people this. It's Idris Elba pretty much using his regular voice, with Matthew McConaughey using his voice.
That's not true. Idris Elba is British.
I know.
Not his regular voice. On The Wire, maybe.
He's British.
Yeah, he's British.
I know. Isn't he using his regular voice? He can't always hold his American accent if you ever pay attention. Sometimes it slips.
Now wish we rewatched
We see you, Idris.
We see you. But however, just to see the two for me is just the funny part of just hearing them. You're the bad guy. I'm the bad guy.
I'm the bad guy, man. All right. So we get another sort of Stephen King Easter egg. Jake Chambers is talking about to Roland, your world may be gone, our world's still here. And they're referring to Midworld, and they're walking towards a broken carnival sign that says Pennywise.
Oh, I know that reference.
Yeah, aha! I catch that one as well. That's one of my favorite things about the Dark Tower series is that it's like, aha! Oh, I know you. Hey, and even his son.
I don't like that clown.
Yeah, not a big fan of that clown.
Not a fan of that clown.
Up to no good.
You may not like this movie. I don't know.
This kid, look at that picture.
It's okay, Jay. We all float down here.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So the next sort of big thing in the trailer is, to me, the promise that this will be an even bigger summer blockbuster than most summer blockbusters, because most summer blockbusters, you guys, have one sky beam. This movie has six sky beams. There are six sky beams. Let's take a look at our beams.
Is that 6?
That's a lot of beams.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, that's even. That's so. Yeah, they
intersect.
They intersect.
They intersect.
Is it like a spoke on a wheel kind of thing?
Yeah.
They intersect around the Dark Tower.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot. So just give me a disposable CGI army, and then just rubble floating around the beams that hold up the tower.
Bing, bang, boom. You got
Can you
it.
superimpose a Cara Delevingne just doing this?
Yes,
just superimpose
absolutely.
Just doing it.
So these beams
Then
are a
you'll buy
little
a
different.
Lincoln.
You buy a Lincoln.
Yeah. These beams are a little different. They're horizontal, and they hold up. Like they can't be. They can't be broken. Like
so these
they
would hold the tower in place.
Yeah, they hold the tower in place. But still, sky beams. Wait for the honest trailer. We get a great sort of reference to the sort of bigger bad.
All Hail the Crimson King.
All Hail the Crimson King, which this sort of reminds me actually of the Ozymandias shot in Breaking Bad when he returns to the house and it's burned down. The Crimson King is sort of a shadowy, larger evil in the story, and that's really the only nod we get to him in this trailer. So that's kind of cool and interesting.
Save things. I like that when trailers save some things so you can have it later on.
One thing they did not save us on in this is how cool Idris Elba looks when he shoots people. Guys, how do you top bullet time?
You top it by having bullet loading time.
I thought you were saying that to pan to a clip, and I was just waiting on the clip, and we know this awkward pause. Everybody just like,
But it kind of reminds me of Wanted.
It does. It definitely reminds of Wanted.
Like the Angelina Jolie movie, James McAvoy Wanted, where she has to like
curve a bullet.
Yeah, she's curving bullets at people and just slinging them at folks.
And when Morgan Freeman's a gangster, the way he has a 6-shooter and just the bullet just throwing it up, having to drop in, the quick ways he reloads is just amazing. I get it why they're called gunslingers.
Yeah, I like this because like John Wick sort of introduced this idea of like gun fu, and this is almost like a next level like Shaolin monk gun fu.
I want that on a T-shirt, Joe. You win.
You want gun fu on a T-shirt? Here, have an M&M.
What color?
Any color you want, buddy.
I'll take a blue
You pick
one.
one.
Got blue.
You pick one.
Thank
Charlie, you get an M&M
The cool
too.
thing that I read before we came on here is when Stephen King wrote the book, he was watching a lot of Sergio Leone Western movies. So he took what he loved about Tolkien and having an epic fantasy journey and then mashed it with Sergio Leone. This shows it to me. You totally get that sort of
absolutely
aesthetic.
You definitely he's like because he is this sort of like Knight of Camelot cowboy, but instead of Excalibur, this is a guy who does really weird stuff with pistols. So I'm really glad we sort of...
it's good to see... Sorry to interrupt. It's good to see the way he uses it in this trailer, just instead of saying throughout the whole trailer, he's a gunslinger, he's a gunslinger. And for that moment, you get to see him exactly do things with the guns. You're like, oh, okay, I see why you have this title.
Yeah.
For those who aren't familiar with the books.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. A lot of people are going to see this, like myself and Charlie, who aren't familiar with the books. So you have to do an introduction to different things and make people get interested in it.
And you've got to have something that stands out. Because, I think we've been fair in kind of going through the trailer so far and being like Star Wars, Excalibur.
Right.
And so you've really got to start really showing off what is going to make the Dark Tower stand out. And I think that this gun style that he uses is really going to be one of those things. I think that's going to be the sell more so. Well, then The Dark Tower is this very complicated book of, like that's never going to sell the movie, but
and
something like that.
Certainly the source
might.
material and the fight between McConaughey and Idris Elba. You want to show up to see those men duel it out and act in the same room. I'm excited enough for that.
Yeah. And speaking of Idris Elba, we have this clip of Jake sort of becoming his protege. He's taking Jake under his wing, teaching him lessons about slinging guns. Guys, probably our most important question of this video, if you could learn something from Idris Elba, what would it be?
I'll let Charlie go first because I got to think on this with my heart.
I think on this one.
What would I want to learn? I'd want to learn if Heimdall has the Soul Stone. Ha!
Like that?
I just want to know how to be a taker.
Ooh.
I want to learn.
You remember the movie? We're takers, gents.
Oh God, I forgot all about that movie.
Yeah.
Is it weird that I forgot about that movie, but absolutely remember every shot of his music videos? I just want to know if I can be in his backup band. They're great. Look up Idris Elba's music videos if you've never seen them. They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing.
Not really.
So lastly, we sort of wrapped the trailer up with lines from the book that's sort of his creed, his motto, his lessons that he's learned from his mentors and his dads, which ends with, I don't kill with my gun, I kill with my heart, which is such a fun...
Guns don't kill people, hearts kill people.
Hearts kill people. Great lesson.
I do
take
like
away
that.
from this. But I do love this because even reading the books, like I very rarely ever got a sense that he was on this level. Like to me, it was like really good cowboy, but not like the Sixth Sense.
I love this shot in the trailer. How
speaking of
he just focuses and then just lets it ride and just shoots. Again, to me, the wanted thing. Just, you have to focus with your heart and just be one with the bullet and just shoot.
Yeah.
And again, I kill with my heart. It's just like, oh, am I supposed to cry right now? If I do,
I kill with my heart, which actually kind of says a lot with about the actual character and his background and his motivations too. So you guys. My non-book reading friends, we've watched the trailer. We've poked at it a little bit. How are you guys feeling about this movie? Like, based on this trailer, what are you expecting to see? Are you interested?
I'm interested. I want to see those two actors play in the same room, as I said before. I'm a little... I don't know about the quality of the filmmaking, though. Like, I'm so interested in reading the book now, but watching the trailer, I don't know if they chose the right director. I'm so excited to eat my words. I hope it's great. I hope it rises to the expectations of people who've been loving these books for generations, but... I don't know if the filmmaking is there, but it's a trailer, so
yeah. I mean, Nick Garcelle does not have like the deepest filmography, and it's, take a look at his IMDb, and it's hard to like point at a project and say, oh, this is why you're the Dark Tower director. Right. Like, there's no real like organic ABC there.
The director and even some of the screenplay writers we looked at. One of the screenplay writers wrote Batman and Robin.
Akiva Goldsman.
Akiva Goldsman wrote Batman and Robin.
Wrote Batman and Robin. No, don't say nothing else. He wrote Batman and Robin,
and that will weigh on him. Till the end of his days.
Thanks for those ice puns.
And that,
forever.
right, and those different puns and things like that. You have Stephen King, who makes great books, which have turned into some great films. What was the last? The Shining is a great one for me. I actually like Sleepwalkers. Don't judge me.
I will never judge you.
Because of how crazy it is. I like Sleepwalkers. But Stephen King has made great books and turned into great movies.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, all of these.
I mean, Shining's like...
But when you have, like you said, a director who isn't known, doing something that has such a history, a rich history, and a fan base that is going to come out in droves to see this.
And this production has sort of had a weird and troubled
They've been trying to get it up there forever.
I mean, I'm definitely curious to see how it turns out. I want to see this.
I'm curious if Stephen King will like it, because I know notoriously he hated The Shining, but The Shining was a great movie.
On Twitter, he seems pretty happy.
Okay, so this is probably his best representation. So I trust him, and I'm sure it's going to be a great adaptation.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It doesn't feel like the books, but again, this is technically not the books. So, Charlie, enough of our yapping. Has anybody had anything to say on their social media?
So we asked social media, you out there, what you liked best of the trailer. We've got the amazing Delisha saying Elba's gunslinging ways is something she really liked. So we've got YL Loves Movies, who actually is not watching the trailer yet, doesn't want to be spoiled, and I totally get that. And Jeff says when it ended. So not everyone's excited, but some people
seems to be on the same page with us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to kind of wait and see on this one. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping.
And just one last question about the topic of it. Is there other references in the book to other Stephen King books?
Yes.
That's like a Kingdom Hearts thing, but for Stephen King.
Yeah, it's a Stephen Kingdom Hearts thing. Absolutely. Charlie, Jay, thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
See you guys in a few minutes after this video cuts. Internet, we want to know, what did you guys think about the Dark Tower trailer? A 10, a 1, somewhere in between? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, Dalton's #1 rule, be nice. Thanks for watching. Please click here for more internet. Tweet at us at SJ News, and make sure to subscribe. And a big thanks to M&M's for sponsoring this episode. Bye, guys. Make good choices.